What's up everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we've got an exciting adventure planned, a bit different from the usual style, but you know, we're out here trying new things. Today we are going on an exploration around Joburg, which is pretty cool. We're trying to find the oldest building in Johannesburg. So we're going to try find some of the old buildings and see which one truly is the oldest. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. I'm not going to visit all the old houses because I can't. And I'm also not going in complete order. This is just what I could find and what was accessible to me. Because I know the haters out there can be like, oh, but you didn't go there. I'm also not going to the inner city because I value my camera, my gear, and mostly my life. So let's go and look at the first house. The first building we're visiting is in Parktown, so let's go. So we're here at the view. The view is interesting. It was built in 1896, so that's like 120, 30, almost 130 years ago, which is a long time ago. So Thomas Cullinan was the man who discovered the largest diamond in the world, which is known as the Great Star of Africa. And this mansion was his home. Pretty fancy. It was dominated by two A-shaped gables, red brick and white carved wooden railings on its double-story balconies. It's built in the neo-Queen Anne style. The west wing, which is a copy of the rest of the house, was added in response to the growth of the family. It still keeps its large garden with its original circular driveway. The house stands grandly on Ridge Road, but unfortunately, because of buildings, it doesn't have its original view to Pretoria. Imagine seeing all the way to Pretoria, pretty cool. It's still in great condition with its large wooden panelled study and beautiful fireplaces. It is now the headquarters of the Transvaal Scottish Regiment. Lady Cullinan lived in the house until 1963 when she died at the age of 97. The house became a national monument in 1990. So that's the first building, the view. Where should we go next? All I'm saying is I probably shouldn't have chosen to do this video in rush hour on a Monday. On to our next house. I tried looking for the Klipfontein farmhouse, which overlooked Orange Grove, but honestly I couldn't find it. What's up everybody? So our next house is somewhere here. I don't know if I can exactly find the exact house because it's kind of hidden in a garden somewhere, but this house is actually quite old as well. I think it's from 1886 and I presume it's behind walls or hidden in a garden, but I'll show you some photos if I can find of this property. It must have looked really good and must have had a great view because it's kind of on a ridge and would have looked over the whole of Norwood, Johannesburg. So that's Klipfontein farmhouse. On to the next house, which is the Emmarentia farmhouse from 1887. Okay, cool, we're at our next location. This place is in Emmarentia. It is the Emmarentia farmhouse. Another one of the major Johannesburg early farms was Doornfontein. We know of Randpark, but it extended a lot further. The owner was Lou Geldenhuys, and he built a beautiful farmhouse for his wife Emmarentia. That's why it's called Emmarentia, the suburb. And this farmhouse still stands in the nowadays suburb of Emmarentia. It is cleverly and lovingly restored. It's an eclectic mix of Victorian fireplaces, wooden floors, and almost 5-meter high ceilings. It has interleading rooms, with Art Deco finishes in the bathrooms. The pantry has been restored to its Boer farmhouse look of wooden cupboards with chicken wire doors. I'll put some photos here if I can find them, complete with candle burn marks at the bottom of the cupboard doors. In 1858, Gerrit Bezuidenhout was granted title of the farm Doornfontein, an area of 3,500 hectares. Doornfontein was a large farm stretching from Victory Park all the way to Rosebank in the north, Killarney in the northeast, down to Commissioner Street in the east, over to Mayfair and Coronationville in the southwest, and up to the base of the North Cliff Ridge. That's like basically the northern suburbs of Joburg, so a pretty big farm. The farm was then subdivided multiple times, and the eastern part was bought by Lourens Geldenhuys, who is Lou's father, for £4,500 in 1886, which is the year the main gold reef was discovered in Johannesburg. The farmhouse sits proudly in the suburb, its whitewashed walls in pleasing contrast to its long red polished stoep and green iron roof, and glorious garden, in which Emmarentia, the wife, planted 5 palm trees, which still stand today proudly in front of the house. Lowe and Emmarentia are buried in the small graveyard on Hill Road, which is several blocks behind the house, which is still there today. Here's the family gravesite of Lowe Geldenes and his family. So that's pretty interesting. It's still intact in the middle of Emmarentia. Let's go to our next house, which is across the city in Northcliffe. Cool, so our next property is at the Gables. This property is actually from 1861 and was owned by Johannes Cornelius Smit. 1861, that's a long time ago. And it's kind of randomly, awkwardly in this office park area, which is kind of random. Let's hope the security lets me in. I will show you if I manage to get in, because it's kind of in this arbitrary office park look. It's kind of a random. It's inside there, so yeah, let's try. This building is called the Gables, or Weltevreden Farmhouse, and was built in 1861. For over 130 years, the farm was owned by the family of Cornelius Johannes Smit. Each generation added to the character of the house. It began as a 3-bedroom structure with walls of mud brick, a yellow wood ceiling and thatch roof. A tornado destroyed the thatched roof in 1879, and so then it was replaced by its present-day corrugated iron roof. By the late 1930s, Cape Dutch gables were added, which I guess leads to its name now of the Gables. In 2007, the farmhouse was incorporated into the Gables office estate. And as I visited today, I noticed that there were some restoration happening, construction. I'm not sure what that's about, but hopefully it's maintained and restored. Our next house is in Randpark Ridge, and many people actually say this is the oldest house in Joburg, but it's not. I'll tell you more about that later. So we're here at the H.Y. Manny House, or H.Y. Manny Place. Many people say this is actually the oldest building in Joburg, so I think we've almost done our job. This building is from the 60s. I'm not sure the exact year in the 60s, but early 60s, which would make it 140, 60, 73, at least 173 years old, which is very old for a building. So that's a pretty impressive building. Unfortunately, you can't really see the building that much because it's like tucked away in a garden. I found that a lot of these buildings are like quite hidden away, I guess to protect them. But this building was here before any of these buildings around me. This is like Randpark Ridge, which is like very super built up. But this was a farmhouse originally here since the 60s, not just the 60s, the 1860s, which is very, very impressive. So that's pretty cool. H.Y. Manny House, here we are. The H.Y. Manny House is in Randpark Ridge, and it's from 1860. The house started life as the Bushkorp farmhouse before being transformed into a grand country estate by landlord John Dale Lace. In the late 1920s, Tom Kelly actually acquired the estate and renamed it H.Y. Manny in honor of his family home in Ireland. The house is all that is left of the original farm, and only half of the house remains. The interior of the house has been modernized, and the only remaining element of its former grandness is the attractive double-gabled, whitewashed facade. John Dale Lace also built a dam, still there, now called H.Y. Manny Dam. But Dale Lace unfortunately lost his fortune, and in 1911, he and his wife, Jose, went to live at the Bushkorp for a short time. The house was then taken over by Standard Bank, and in 1927, as I said before, businessman Tom Kelly bought the house and extended and restored it. So that is H.Y. Manny Farmhouse. Let's go on to our last property, which actually has 2 houses. I'm stopping halfway on my journey because, as you can see, I've got super long hair and I went past my barber, so I'm just gonna have a quick haircut, so watch. Boom, and there we go, fresh cut. Now we can continue this venture. Let's go to the next location. Okay, hi everybody. So I may or may not have arrived at the oldest building in Joburg, but I'm a little bit scared because, you know, Joburg, and we're in the middle of a very dodgy park. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get like the best shots. I will try my best. Bear with me because I'm afraid. So let me try. It's right over here. It's literally, there's the two buildings. The one is the third oldest building, and then there's actually a secret small building that's the oldest building in Joburg. It's from I think it's in the 50s. I'll give you the exact date on the screen, but it's the oldest building in the entire Joburg, and it's in this random park in the middle of Joburg. So that's very, very weird, but I'll try to show it to you. If not, I'll definitely find pictures for you. But we actually are here, even though I'm scared. I'm in the middle of nowhere. But let's try to find this building. This is the main farmhouse and is known as the Bezuidenhout farmhouse. But there's actually a smaller building next to it, and that is from 1852. And this is the oldest building in Johannesburg, which is pretty impressive. And it's from 1852. The main house, the Bezuidenhout farmhouse, was built by the Viljoen family and then later taken over by the Bezuidenhout family when a Viljoen married a Bezuidenhout. The actual oldest house is next door and is where the Viljoens presumably lived before they built the larger farmhouse. This house is from the 1850s, which is so long ago, which is actually more than 30 years before Johannesburg became a city. So that's the oldest house in Joburg. And if you're interested in reading more, I highly encourage you to do it because there's so much more information that I couldn't put into this video. Otherwise it would just be so very long. So if you want to find out more, please do some research online. There's a lot of information about these houses and more houses, more buildings that you can find online. So do that if you're interested. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you're interested in more, give me some ideas, some things you'd like to know about, and I will take the time to do the research. And if I can go to that place or explore it, I will do so for you. Another thing is I added the top 30 oldest buildings and houses in Johannesburg in the description below. So if you wanted to see the ones I missed or the ones I couldn't get to, some of them have been demolished, some of them are far away, some of them are places I couldn't go, they're in the description. So check that out and I will see you in the next video. Bye and have a happy 2024.